All right, number 21 and 22 are dealing with polynomials, specifically addition and subtraction. All right, so we have to figure out how to deal with these parentheses. So the parentheses are here to show us where our polynomials are. So here's one polynomial, here's the other. If you just have a plus in front of it, what that's saying is you have a plus 1. So if I distribute a positive 1, I multiply everything by 1 and it doesn't change anything. So what that means is when I do my distribution, I don't actually change anything and I can drop those parentheses altogether. So the parentheses are not necessary in this problem at all. What I can do is I can combine similar terms. So I'm going to look for my biggest exponent, which is a 3, and I'm looking for any terms that have an x to the third. I find those, so 6 minus 4 is 2, and then I keep the x to the third. So then I move on to my x squared terms. There's 1 and there's 1. They're both negative, so negative 4 plus negative 2 makes negative 6, and I keep the x squared. So I'm putting this in what we call descending order, where the exponents go down. So now we have a 9x and a 3x. Those are both positive, so 9 plus 3 is 12. We get 12x. And then finally, we have our constants. We have a negative 2 and a positive 8, and that's going to give me a positive 6. So I've combined all my similar terms, and I'm done. So number 22 is very similar, except we have a negative. So we have to distribute that negative. And what happens is when we multiply by negative 1, it changes all of our signs. So on this one, I'm going to go ahead and rewrite. I don't have anything in front of the first polynomial, so that one remains exactly the same. But the second one, all the signs change. So I get a minus 4x to the third, a plus 4x squared, a plus 2x, and a minus 3. So every single sign changed in that second set of parentheses right here. All right, so now we're back to similar terms, just like the last problem. So we'll find our x to the thirds. Let's see, 7 minus 4 is 3, so 3x to the third. And then we try to find our x squareds. There's a plus 4 and a plus 4. So if I put those together, I get a plus 8x squared. And let me find another color. Now we'll do a negative 6x and a positive 2x. So that'll make a negative 4x. And then finally we have our constants. So we have a positive 5 and a negative 3. So 5 minus 3 gives us a positive 2. So those are simply combining like terms, except on subtraction you do have to distribute the negative. All right, so now we're going to look at distribution a little bit more. So on number 23, we have this negative 2x, and we're going to distribute or multiply it to each piece inside the parentheses. So each of these is going to be a lot like what we did on number 17, okay, except we're going to do this over and over. So for our first two, I look at the coefficients and I say negative 2 times 4 is negative 8. And then for the x's, I'm going to add those exponents. This is x to the first times x squared, so that's x to the third. All right, and then I move over. Let me see if I can delete that one. I move over to this one. So now I'm multiplying these two together. So negative 2 times negative 2 is positive 4. X to the first times x to the first is x to the second. And then notice I only have one y. I don't have a y in the first part, so I just bring the y down. All right, see if I can delete that. So now I'm looking at these two. So I have negative 2 times 5 is negative 10. Notice I have one x and I have one z. So I bring down the x and I bring down the z. Once I get to here, these are not similar. They do not have matching variable parts. So once I get to here, I'm done. All right, so number 24 is kind of stuck in here. Notice on this one, there's no plus or minus signs. There's a negative right here, but in between my x's and my y's, I'm not seeing any plus or minus signs. So this means I'm not going to FOIL. That's the most common mistake here. So once again, this one is going to be just like number 17. If you look back up at that one, I'm going to start by multiplying my coefficients. So negative 3 times 4 is negative 12. And then for my x's, I'm going to keep the x, and I'm going to add the exponent. So that's going to be x to the 6th. And then if I look at the y's, looks like 3 plus 6, and I'm going to get y to the 9th. So that problem is just like number 17. Just has one extra letter in there. All right, and then for 25, we are distributing just a 5. So I'm going to multiply 5 times 7, and I'm going to get 35. And then I'm going to multiply 5 times negative 3x to the 4th, and that'll be negative 15. And then I just bring that x to the 4th down. Those are not similar, so I'm going to stop right there.